Hello, everyone. I'm Jessi, and this is Heather. And we're here today to talk about one of our babies, one of our creations that we have worked so hard on for now. I think it's been 6 years that this has been like in the cauldron in various iterations.
Hmm.
And of course, I'm speaking about our course called Sovereign, which was reborn last year in March. So we named it Sovereign Rebirth. And we decided that it would be a perfect moment to come and talk to each other and catch up on life and share with all of you who might be interested in joining us and being a part of what this has been for us and for so many other people. Um, so we are going to be offering another iteration of this experience. There is so much already pre-recorded that exists, and we're going to be gathering again live together to comb through even more new emerging layers. So I'm super excited to get to do this with you again. I wouldn't be who I am today or where I am today if it weren't for you introducing so many of these concepts that have become root systems for Wild Essence and very much the way that I want to live my life. So what's been up for you since the last iteration of of Sovereign Rebirth?
So beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah, wow. So this iteration feels extra special because, as many of you know, I just became a mother and Jesse's becoming mother. So by the time we run this iteration of the course, I'll be a year postpartum. Jesse will be in, the newborn stages. And wow, it's amazing because every time we refine the course like we did this past year, it was incredible how much we've grown, of course, as individuals, and how many new tools and resources we've discovered. And some that we are actually like, okay, maybe that's not serving in this season, and just becoming more current with what feels um, healing for our beings in this season of our lives, and wanting to share that. And I think it's just super special that we're both in this motherhood era, and how sweet and beautiful and nurturing to bring that to this course that was like such a, yeah, it was like such a birthed baby
Banger.
experience. Like it was just like, you know
Really was.
because coming into who we are now, like these practices and principles and resources
Mm.
I feel like, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but really allowed me to thrive in a way where I can now be like in my mother energy because I've sifted through so much over the years.
Mhm.
And I know in the coming months, it's going to be like tenfold what I learn and experience. And I'm really, really excited to bring that all, not even just from a mother lens and perspective, but just how that influences my life and how that changes me, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. And for those who are unfamiliar with the premise of this course, so much of what we're a reparenting of the system, and it's learning and unlearning aspects of human behavior that correlate to how we relate to ourselves and to other people in our lives and to our lives themselves. And so we've kind of like headlined or subtitled this course a journey to embody the deep self, like the deepest version of who we are beyond all the hard shit that's happened to us, and to open to wild love, right? And our capacity to
Mm.
create, let alone to love, is so rooted in some of our original blueprinting and the way we were parented or not so much parented. And so I do feel like our journey into motherhood adjacently, which is so beautiful, as we've really been peeling back so many of these layers of how we want to relate to ourselves, how we want to relate to each other, and how much that has built an ecosystem of relationships and connections in our lives, marriages that are capable of being a container for these big life transformations and big life journeys. We've also experienced the loss of a really, really close friend in the midst of all of this. Like
Mm.
there have been very big highs and very big lows and very real, very human experiences that all kind of show you who you are inside. Whatever's in there is what comes out when you're underslept and you're trying to survive, right? It's like what's in there is what you're going to see. And have chosen to navigate through this curriculum has been uncovering some of those patternings in a tender way, a nurturing way, where we're able to decide, does this way of participating in my life really support what I'm hoping it to feel like? And so, in this deeper dive, I think being presented with many new stimulus. What have you seen of yourself that you've utilized some tools and things you have worked with this curriculum in this first part of Mother? I'm curious, like where have you felt like this is a thing we've been practicing and here we go. Like it's game time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because this is a whole new version of myself who I am just meeting and becoming friendly with, and it's challenging, of course, right? I've never met this version of myself, and I'm learning a lot. I'm giving myself grace, and I shared a bit with you the other day as we were talking about, technology being a big piece, and I'm learning so much of how when I'm in this under-resourced place of, not sleeping as much as I'm used to and not having as much freedom as I'm used to, caring for my baby. And that's so beautiful. And on the other hand, it's like survival mode, right? Like, even if it doesn't feel like it's beautiful, she's sweet, she's laughing, but it's still, you're like in a state of survival because so much changed at once.
Mhm.
And with that is so much of coming back to presence because in that state, it's so easy to numb out, to become disassociated, to be on the phone like way more than I'm comfortable with. Um, and so coming back to presence, coming back to what I know feeds me in a way that nothing on my phone could ever, you know, um, which is just movement, getting back to the gym, walking, even if it means stretching for 5 minutes, right? Because like mom life, different. You don't always get the hour you want, right?
Yeah.
Um, if that means 5 minutes was spent really tapping in, then
Mm,
that's 5 more minutes than I would have spent like, doing not the thing that was serving. Um, but the presencing really
yeah.
is big because you have little eyes watching,
Mhm.
you know, and I can't wait and I can't imagine what will be reflected back to me as she grows. And it's always really illuminating, as you said, when we're sort of in the trenches of whether it's grief, loss, whatever it may be, things show up.
Yeah.
And maybe some things we, might not be our proudest moments,
Hmm.
but it's a moment for us to say, like, okay, let me go back
Yeah.
to myself, go back to the drawing board, go back to the course, see like what could serve this season of my life,
Yeah.
even if it's a couple of micro practices that, save you from doom scrolling,
Exactly.
which has been, that's kind of what I'm grappling with right now. It's like, um,
How do I stay in the moment?
yeah, yeah.
And and we knew and keep coming back to the reality that every relationship, including this new relationship with this person you made, is going to show you yourself, right? It's going to show you where you're uncomfortable. It's going to show you when you don't feel safe. It's going to show you when you're overstimulated. It's going to show you what overstimulates you. You're going to probably be noticing things about the way that you were parented. Like there's so much that comes in and it's in every relationship in our life. We are to see ourselves more, to see more of who we are through relationship, which is, I think, something that modeled in so many ways over the years in my life. And I feel like what we've built, I mean, it does give a really beautiful foundation for nervous system resilience. It does give a beautiful foundation for, like, if you didn't know what your attachment style is, or what is safety in the body, and how do we begin to build the resourcing, which you and I will use that word a lot. For some people, even the word resourcing is not yet part of the conversation. And resourcing is like your toolbox, right? Like how you navigate things that are hard, and what you've got that you either have learned or hopefully have practiced that can support you in those things. And so we have it built in a way where you are kind of getting a feel for what is codependence, and how does that show up, and what is people pleasing, what is it, and how is it showing up, and how is this pattern maybe something that I'm noticing in myself. And we get into some of the science of nervous system work, but we also really start to explore, it's not just about what you think you know about yourself when it's just you in your room. It's a little different. And
Yeah.
I think that our relationships and the quality of our relationships says so much more about where we're really at than anything we want to tell ourselves about where we're at. And I think there's always room for growth and practice, right? It's not about needing to fix things, it's wanting, because we want the relationships in our lives, whether they're with our daughters or our husbands or the people in our lives, we want those relationships to be nourishing for both, for everyone involved. And so it's a choice to keep showing up and saying, let's look behind door number 3. There've been some boxes in front of it for a little while. Let's move the boxes and see what have I maybe fallen back into
Yeah.
in terms of habits or in terms of my boundaries. Does that need to be reshaped? How is my communication? Am I showing up the way that I'm proud of? If my newborn baby could understand every word out of my mouth, would I be proud of how I'm speaking to my partner? Right? Like
Mhm.
these kinds of things. And that's what I'm grateful that we get the opportunity to have this gorgeous foundation, and then do another round of live with each other workshops with some deepening tools to explore, what does this look like circumstantially, like in a scenario like this, which you and I have been gotten lots of questions like this, like, well, what do I do if my this person is being like this? And even
Good
if
old boundaries.
even if we can, like, theoretically understand, like, the when it really happens in our lives and we don't have a sounding board to kind of reflect back what that would look like in practice, we can kind of be left to our own preferred narrative,
Right.
which may or may not be really what's going on. Do you have
Yeah.
a favorite area of the course? I mean, you've talked a lot. You are like the boundary queen. You've talked
Mhm.
about that a lot. This round, you talked a lot about rupture and repair, like distortions in the way that we are relating with one another.
Mhm.
Talked about intimacy and triggers. What are you like feeling like it's always the thing, like this spicy chicken sandwich from Popeyes is always going to be good. I'm very
That's
pregnant.
great. It's always gonna hit.
Very pregnant. It's always going to hit. Like I mean, values and needs.
Yeah.
We've done stuff on values and needs. We've done attachment style things for early childhood development, home dynamics, inherited patterns. I'm just like looking over all the stuff, the beautiful stuff that
Yeah.
we've got in here. What do
I
you feel
think
like?
for me, it's definitely the what happens in relationship, as you said, because that's the most illuminating. You
Yeah.
know, everyone's a secure attachment when they're single and living their best life. Like, am
Yeah,
I right? You know,
for
so
sure.
it's beautiful what can be illuminated in relationship because, as they say, you know, there's two sides to every story. Well, there is because my truth is different than your truth,
Mhm.
and sometimes I prefer my truth, as you say. Like I definitely could get caught up in that because, you know, I have a very strong like moral compass, and I believe like what I think is right, and I firmly am rooted in that. And How
Mm.
much space can I give for somebody else's reality? And can that also be right, even if it's not my preferred one?
Mhm.
Um, I think that's such an underrated skill is
Mm.
being able to really, put yourself in someone else's shoes,
Yeah.
so to speak, because we don't know what someone else is experiencing and how much we can learn by understanding and being willing to see through someone else's lens. Doesn't mean we need to adapt it as our own, but
Yeah.
can we have our own and hold that at the same time? And how much richer that will create, how much richer of a connection that will create.
Mm.
Um, because we miss so much when we're only seeing our piece, not
Mm.
willing to accept or
Yeah.
see someone else's. So I find that to be fascinating because the more curious we get, the more we learn about what's actually happening, even if it is a distortion, which is not
Mhm.
like it goes, I mean, it could spiral into so many different areas.
Yeah.
Even with distortion or trauma or being
Mhm.
triggered or under resourced or I mean, there's so many different combinations of things that could be happening. But how do we know until we know? And when we do know, how much deeper that could bring us in relationship and how can we move from there? So
Yeah.
that's always really fascinating to me. I think it's beautiful because moments when you just think it's impossible or how could you think that or why would when the judgments come heavy, like even if they're internal, like inside voice,
Mhm.
inner voice judgments, it's like it's so limiting, and it keeps us sort of in like a more narrow way of being.
Yeah.
So I'm, all about expansiveness and just growth and you
My hands were doing what your hands were doing. I was like,
know.
you you so represent to me. Like I don't know how your heart can expand more, and then it does. Like in so many ways, I'm like, there's just so much expansiveness in your heart and your ability to be with humanity. And it really is, again, it's a testament to being capable of being with your own humanity, to be able to be with the humanity in other people, and with everybody's most of the time trying their best. And the access to compassion that you then have for your own self in the practice on both ends, right? Like more compassion for self gives you more compassion for other people, more compassion for other people gives you more compassion for self. And then the heart just continues to expand, and the ability to really see people is one of the greatest gifts that you've really been a catalyst for in my life. I mean, there are some things that I could say I was really good at, but that wasn't one of them. I definitely I felt like before doing this kind of the last 7 years of us having conversations about this is stuff I wish that we learned as children. It's stuff that I wish that we were built around more. I wish that the blueprints of human civilization were built around learning how to communicate in ways that are not violent towards other people unnecessarily, because your outcomes will be a lot better. All of this and I really see how much richer in every way my life is as a result of practicing these things that we've put together to share with people. And it's now been in various iterations it will be 7 years of sharing this material and these practices, and the feedback we've gotten from people. I don't know if you have any particular ones that you would share, but I've gotten so many people that have just said it really built a foundation for like how to do life as a human in a significantly more functional way. Like how much healthier every interaction was, how much clearer their own orientation to self has been through choosing to do this. Like the proof is in the pudding, and there's a lot of pudding.
You get a lot of
Like
pudding, a lot of
six
chocolate, yummy,
years of
delicious
pudding,
pudding.
and you made it, so I know it's good. Like there's a lot of people that have really over the years just been like, wow, Sovereign changed my life,
Yeah,
or
that's what I
really
was going to
helped
say.
me.
A lot of that feedback was like it really is life changing because It will change the entire trajectory of how you do life, as you said.
Yeah. I can't imagine how much more restricted my whole system would be if I hadn't touched this when I did.
Mm,
And how different it feels, A, to even be open to motherhood, but to be stepping into motherhood with this lens,
mm,
this ability. I mean, practicing with my husband, like, how do we want to speak to each other so that what she hears of our communication is really optimal for her sense of self development and expectations of how we treat people, because we can tell her how to treat people, but she's going to learn from how we treat each other more
right.
than anything. And that means the ability to name, if I'm tapped out, I need to be able to name that, I've got a need and I really I'm seeking something. And here's what that would look like for me. Like the ability to do that. That's
Yeah.
something that she will then forever hear. And she
Right.
will go, I remember when my mama was tired and she needed something from my dad and she asked him for what she
Mm,
needed. And I can do that too. And like just the ability to do that for, I can't even imagine how much I know for sure how many assholes I wouldn't have dated. That I know for sure. I wouldn't have tolerated it. There's no chance. I wouldn't have, I'm sure I would have made a lot of rebellious mistakes, but I wouldn't have tolerated being treated so poorly if I had witnessed more of people treating each other with respect,
Right.
and care and compassion. Like if that was more a foundational part of how I grew really, really small. And I think for those who are parents, it's an opportunity to really compassionately instead of critically, because I think so much of the advice in the entire realm is really critical, but compassionately meet ways that we can support that development, by taking care of ourselves. It helps everyone.
And just by modeling it, as you said, and being in the field of that, like
Mhm.
how we are sculpted and changed by our environment and
Yeah.
what we're choosing to seek out and be part of, that in
Mhm.
itself is changing things on a cellular level, right? Like putting yourself in a position to, be with this, content with the resources that we have and just being in a space, in a container, over the course of many weeks where this is all taking place, you know, all it takes is like the presence of showing up and it's already changing you. The moment you make the decision to be a
Decide to
part of
choose.
it, there's change already happening in the body, in the mind, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah. Choice is so potent and it really does have such a tremendous ripple. I've heard that reported back so many times. And I've also heard, because you and I have now run many retreats together all over the world. And what has changed over the trajectory of 15 years is I've developed a really healthy code of conduct that
Mm,
has so many, and you've helped me do this, that has so many of these foundations of clear nonviolent communication and everybody really respecting each other's edges and all of
mm,
those pieces. And the amount of people that say I've never been in a group of people that feels like this, and it's a different group of people every time.
right.
But what happens is because of the foundation of how we're entering and what we're agreeing to, the human dynamics themselves play out in a way where things are modeled that we've not ever maybe been in the space of before, where you can just take what you need and take care of yourself, and no one's going to chase you around and ask you a million questions or trauma dump because that's not what we're doing. Right. And so there's this, like you're naming, in an online container, like what we're going to be reviving and offering a new space for in March of 27. This, and when you are physically in person with people practicing this, it it changes your nervous system. It changes how your body is in spaces of people because you go, "Oh, this is different. I don't actually have to mask or make excuses, or I can just take what I need and nobody's bothered.
Yeah. I get
Everybody's,
in trouble, like,
no, you
or
just
be
do what
reprimanded.
it's profound how liberating that is to, like, you just see bodies take this huge exhale, just realizing that no one's going to come up and trauma dump. No one's going to just start talking without consent. No one's going to touch you without consent. Like all of these things, it's a very different world for a lot of people to be in a space that can be genuinely devoted to what they're there for. It's just, it's miraculous. And so I guess we can drizzle the teaser. The teaser. Do you want to do it?
You do
Okay. So
it.
Heather and I are both rooted. I'm rooted in two places, and she will be soon, I'm sure. Rooted in Connecticut, in at least for me, for at least half of the year on most years of my life. And we've been talking about how profound it would be to have sovereign retreat exist in maybe a weekend format, maybe a week. We'll see how long, but an opportunity to actively be in practice of all of the things that we've been learning and practicing. Some of us for 7 years, right? Some of us for 7 years. It's like an opportunity to see how far we've come. And a lot of times we don't see it because we can't remember what it felt like before. Pull out an old journal, right?
Mhm.
Really look at what your friendships look like before entering into this kind of thing and how much they've changed and grown. We're really excited and hopeful that whether you decide to join us just for the online elements, whether you want to be with us in person, even if you've done this before, our fresh take on everything that we'll be pouring new modules and things into, as well as the opportunity to be on live calls again and connect and explore the current circumstances of your life and apply these tools. I'm going to be applying these tools for the duration of my existence. Like I'm certain of that. There's no done. I can always refine, I can always deepen, I can always grow. Um, and practicing this is part of what offers us the opportunity to develop connections, new connections, deepening connections, all of that. And so my hope would be that you join us for everything. My hope would be that if you haven't been in this program in 6 years and you only were ever with us for the first iteration, well, holy shit, is it better?
Yeah. Like,
Oh my God. What we did in March of last year was revolutionary for this program. And so if you haven't touched it since the first time it came out, then you haven't touched it. That's how I feel. Like
it's
we
basically brand new.
it's basically brand new. We took a seed idea that was a beautiful concept, grew into it for 5 years, and
Mm.
then made it something really profound that is only getting deeper every year. And that, if the first iteration of this could have had life-changing impacts, I can't even imagine the magnitude of what this could be. In addition to the fact that you're supporting two new moms who are choosing to do something that they really believe in,
Mhm.
really want to share something that has been very meaningful with people to whom it matters. And be able to support our families and take care of each other. And so to me, everybody wins.
Completely.
Yeah. Any last words before we close out?
Mm.
Any hopes or wishes for the people who are meant to find
Ah,
this? I feel like that's what your heart will do.
yes. Oh. Yeah, I feel like for myself and for anyone who feels called to join us, I think whether you've been with us before or this is, your second or third season of the program with us, as you said, it shows how much we've grown over the years, and it also can be a beautiful reminder of what we may have forgotten along the way because
Mhm.
we're ever evolving and changing. And I know for myself, every time we come back to this, I'm like, it's just such, yeah, a breath of fresh air and like a sigh of relief. It's like, oh, how I missed that, or oh, I forgot about that. Or, oh, maybe I could brush up on that myself. And it's like always returning to, what feels right in this current season, because we're surely not practicing all of it at once, but it's meant to be, a bubble, a space, a container where we can extract whatever serves us in this season, in this era of our lives.
Mhm.
And so I'm really looking forward to it, especially as this new version of myself as mama, and really looking forward to seeing how, I can support um, this whole iteration from this new place that I am. I'm just really, really excited about it because I'm just a whole new person, and I just can't wait to see how she evolves.
I didn't know I could love you more, but every day I do.
I love you.
Every day I do. I love you. And I'm
Mm.
so grateful that we get to do this together. And I guess a closing statement, if there were one, to me would be all of life is relationship, at least in the way that I've ever experienced it. And sovereign is an opportunity to be in relationship with life on purpose, where you're participating with how that relationship feels to yourself, to each other, to all the people whose tendrils touch yours, like whether it's your children or your parents or your grandparents or your family members, your friends, the people you work with, like there's no avoiding that you will be in relationship. It's just the quality of relationships and the choice to improve quality of life by improving quality of relationships by doing it on purpose is really what this is. And to me, the recommitment on our end is also a recommitment of devotion to something that really matters to us. It's a value piece that really matters to us. So I'm really hopeful that for those of you out there who either long for deeper, more honest relationship or really just want to see how good it can get and how much love there is available, that this is going to be very, very special. And even more so with me just out of the other side of having become a mom for the first time too. I mean, the one thing that I know for sure is that my heart's going to explode. And
Yeah.
what better thing to do with that than to share it in as big of a way as I can with all the people who are going to be a part of this. So all are welcome, whether you're coming for the first time or you're coming back. We would be so grateful to have you. There are options that will be somewhere near the video. And I love you. Can't wait to see you all then.
Mm. Love you.